Hello, this is Simply Experimenting coming to you from Lebanon, Pennsylvania. And I am here at Union Canal Tunnel Park North. And why am I here? I am here to go do a kayak here on the Union Canal and kayak through the tunnel itself. Now, I learned about this through Uncharted Lancaster, and there were very limited dates throughout the summer months for this. If you want more information, go to cocokayaks.com, and I think they still have dates left for August. It is now July, so this was the last one for July. So if you want to find out more, go find out at cocokayaks.com and look under Union Canal Tour. And without further ado, let's go kayaking.
The only time that we allow kayaking here in the canal is our partnership with Kayaks and Mike's team. So otherwise, this is closed to kayaking, so you get a unique opportunity to come through the tunnel. So we appreciate it. But one of the things about our park, we have 110 acres here. Everything here is paid for through donations. There's no public funds that go into our park. So to maintain 110 acres without any paid employees, it's important for us to have partnerships like this. So some of the proceeds of what you've done to go on the tour tonight, you come back to Union Canal Tunnel Park. So we thank you for joining us. And I think that's it.
All right, very good. The only other thing is, Ryan, what's your plan?
So there's that fourth set over there, all the BYOKs, and then this two people right here.
All right. Everybody understand that? So if you are in a boat that's basically from here that way, you're in group number one. If anybody else over here is in group 2. Does that make sense? Clear as mud, right? All right. And then the last thing is these stairs, we actually, to not disrupt the canal, we have to put them in and take them out every time. And they're not perfectly level. They do slope backwards. So just be mindful as you go down the stairs. It's kind of a little funny feeling, but they are very manageable. And we are pretty skilled at getting people in and out of boats as well. So, all right, cool. Then we're good to go, guys.
So here's the dam. So we have to turn around and join the rest of the folks really quick. So I'm going to put you down. I'm not here by myself. This is a group. Sorry, I'm trying to paddle with one hand and record with the other because I forgot to grab my GoPro. So yeah, this is a group tour. I don't know how many spaces are available here, but it looks like at least 30 people were here, maybe 20, 25, 30 people easy. So I'm just taking my time. We're doing it in 2 groups. The first group is already heading down the canal tunnel with a local historian from the Historical Society, and then we'll get to do the tour ourselves and go down to the southern end of the canal. So this is some of our group members here and one of our guides. 2 of our guides are up ahead.
So yeah, we do. I don't know if you guys know, we also do tours on the Sotera. We cover about 42 miles in different sections of the area throughout the day, throughout the week. So we're always moving around. We're totally mobile. We also do specialty type paddles where we'll do like a full moon float where we go through in complete darkness, which is pretty cool. That's guided as well. Most of our trips on the Sotera are unguided, but we give you all the necessary instruction to be successful. And We also rent boats up at Memorial Lake State Park. We do that by the hour up there, but then our trips on the creek, they're all appointment only because it's mobile. We're never at the same spot. You know, we're always all over the place. So, yeah.
Cool.
The mighty Swatera. Oh, yeah. She's mighty when she wants to be. She's been mighty this spring. Pretty much all of May.
Are you saying the Saskatera?
The Swatera.
Swatera.
Yes, the
We don't know
Swatera.
where that is.
Well, it's north of here.
Okay.
As the crow flies, only by about, I want to say about 4 miles.
Okay.
It's not very far, but it runs all the way from Pine Grove, Pennsylvania, down to Middletown. So, and the navigable part, well, it goes further than Pine Grove, but the navigable part is from Pine Grove to Middletown. One of the things that we actually do is we manage the water trail with the Swatera Watershed Association. And so what we do is, sounds like Ed's giving you a call there.
Is that Ed making the moose sound?
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, the moose sound means we're on.
All right? 1690, William Penn visits his colony. There's only one major city in Pennsylvania in 1690, and that is Philadelphia, home of the world champion Philadelphia Eagles. Anyway, William Penn visits Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. He decides he wants to ride into the wild, wild west. In 1690, guess where the wild, wild west is? You're looking at it. It takes William Penn 3 weeks to get here from Philadelphia. We can do it in an hour and a half today. Why does it take us 3 weeks? There's no transportation system. There's no roads. He literally has to hack his way through the forest or follow Native American trails. So William Penn gets all the way out to the Susquehanna River, and he writes in his diary, at some point in time in the future, I would like to have a second city in Pennsylvania. And I'd like to build it way out here in the west on the Susquehanna River. But if I build it, I want to find some way that that city could trade with Philadelphia. So William Penn is the first one who proposes a water system that would connect Philadelphia to the interior of his colony. But in 1690, he doesn't have the workforce, the technology, or the money to be able to make it happen. So it just simply sits in his diary. I will remind you that everything that you are on and everything that you're starting to see behind me is not natural. So this is not a natural waterway. There's no water here. Matter of fact, this is the same height that you're seeing the rock on both sides of us. So this all has to be dug or tunneled by hand. We'll talk a little bit about the workers in a minute. I'm going to spin my boat around so I can give you a couple of highlights as we approach the tunnel. Because there are 3 separate tunnel entrances that you're looking at. Wait a minute, what do you mean 3 separate tunnel entrances? The oldest tunnel entrance, when the tunnel was first completed in 1827, is on this side and right above me here on the left. So that's where the original tunnel, my boat would be entering the original tunnel right where I am right now. So you might say, okay, well that's the oldest, and this one here is going to be the second oldest, and that's the youngest. No. Oldest, youngest, middle. So why is this the youngest? So long after the canal ceased operation in the 1930s, the Roosevelt administration decided they wanted to put people to work during the Great Depression as we go along. But those geology bands that we have in here, you're also going to see some of this white. It looks like it's flowing down the side of the tunnel. That's solid calcium. That's called crowstone. That's because we are inside limestone. The water comes through the limestone, it dissolves the calcium, it evaporates here in the tunnel, and it leaves behind that white residue. Another interesting geological feature, if you follow my light,
Sorry, I thought I was recording, but I wasn't. But now we're almost coming through the tunnel now. But I'll try to do a better job on the return trip.
We'll get started without him anyway. The question I got was if this was a canal that was the power was mules, how did you get through the tunnel? There's no mule path in the tunnel, right? So what do you think? You threw your mule in, made him swim in front of you? No, that's not what you did. You actually are going to use poles. You're going to literally push your boat through the tunnel. There are stories. Remember, the tunnel is supposedly the technical is 18 feet high. There's places in there, I'm sure when you looked up, you could see it was higher than 18 feet. But a lot of it's about 18 feet high. So there are stories. Remember, the canal boats, they're going to be piled high with cargo. That cargo just barely fits under the top of the tunnel. There are stories of captains who would lay on top of their cargo and use their feet against the ceiling of the tunnel to help push their boats through. But most of it is going to be done by using poles and literally pushing the boat through. So originally the canal is 82 miles long. So the canal stretches from the Schuylkill River, right near Reading, where the 422 bypass is actually, is where the canal would have joined up with the Schuylkill navigation system. It then snakes along the Tulpahawken Creek, comes through Myerstown into Lebanon, comes through what is the highlight of the engineering piece of the canal, which is the Union Canal Tunnel here, then goes back out to meet the Swatara Creek. It meets the Swatara Creek at a place called Waterworks. Matter of fact, Waterworks is built by the canal company as a source of water, which we'll talk about in a minute as well. And from there, it follows the Swatara Creek, and we say Harrisburg, but it's actually technically Middletown, where the canal would have met Susquehanna navigation, part of the main line system of Pennsylvania canals. And you could have gone north and south along the Susquehanna River, either down into the Baltimore area or up to Williamsport through the area up there to northern Pennsylvania. So 82 miles long east to west. The canal, the tunnel was the last part that needed to be completed. It was completed in 1827. The very first boat that goes through is the Alpha, rather fittingly, right? Going to be the first one. So that opened at east and west. Anybody remember how long I said it took William Penn to get out here? 3 weeks. When this canal and this tunnel opened, you get from Philadelphia to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, with 25 tons of cargo on your canal boat in less than 5 days. So think about it. This was the Pennsylvania Turnpike of its day. This was the only real way to move bulk goods around. This is the most efficient way to do it. So you think about like I-81 or the Turnpike or I-83, that's what this was. As many as 100 boats a day are passing any one point on the Union Canal. Yeah, think of it like tractor-trailer traffic today. That's what's going to be going back and forth on it. Not long after they completed it in 1827, they decide they want to actually build a branch canal. And they want to build that branch canal north along the Swatara Creek to Schuylkill County. You might say to me, Ed, what would anyone want in Schuylkill County? But there is a very important discovery in Schuylkill County that is going to power the Industrial Revolution. That is anthracite coal. So the canal company builds a branch canal 20 miles north along the Swatara Creek all the way to Pine Grove, Pennsylvania. In Pine Grove, Pennsylvania, they built a coal wharf. And then they built 4 miles of railroad tracks to connect to the coal mines. Those railroad tracks weren't originally steam powered. They were also mule powered. So the mules would pull the cars along the railroad tracks with the coal to the Union Canal, put the coal on Union Canal boats. It immediately became the #1 revenue source for the Union Canal. Everything in those days ran on coal. And all the cities on the East Coast, all their factories were powered by coal. So that was the piece that everybody wanted some of the action, and the Union Canal got in on it. That's why they built that branch canal. It immediately became the most important part of the canal, all the coal coming down from the Pine Grove area and all the coal routes there. So now we will wait for another minute because we're going to talk a little bit about communication, because we talked about already the mules and how we couldn't get through with the mules going up on top that we needed to pull our way through. Because there's some other problems with navigating through the tunnel. We'll get this group here with us. And then we'll pick it back up. Any other questions for me while we're waiting for these guys to catch up? When did it stop being used? So, you know what? I think I'm going to ask you to hold that one as well. Well, let me tell you now, we can catch up the other folks later. So the canal operated until 1885. There are two reasons for the downfall of the Union Canal. If you listen, you can hear one of them. Railroad. 1857, the Lebanon Valley Railroad is completed. That's the line that runs through town today. What can the trains do that the canal can't?
Move faster.
Definitely faster. Top speed in your canal boat with a mule, 4 miles an hour. Railroads are faster. What else can they do?
Move more.
Definitely more cargo, no doubt about it. What do you think happens to this canal in January and February?
Shuts down.
Freezes. Railroads didn't have to worry about that, though, did they? So railroad's going to be one of the major issues that are going to cause the downfall of the Union Canal. The other one is in 1862. There's a big flood in Schuylkill County. That flood in Schuylkill County destroys the branch canal that went to the coal fields. They never rebuilt it. So you got competition from the railroads. You lose your #1 revenue source. Things start to spiral down. 1885, what's left of the Union Canal is sold in bankruptcy. And most of what is left is sold to a railroad company. The Reading Railroad, matter of fact. And it's sold to the Reading Railroad. Why? Well, A, it takes out the competition. I don't have to worry about the canal competing with coal trade anymore. And B, those mule paths along the side, boy, those look like a nice place for laying railroad track, don't they? The Middletown and Hummelstown Railroad is built almost exclusively over what was the Union Canal. The Reading Railroad builds the Union Canal branch in Reading right over top of the Union Canal. But 1885 ceased operation. The only part of the canal that you could be on anymore in a boat would be the section that you're on now that we've restored here at the Historical Society. So group one, you guys are joining us again. Welcome back. We're just talking about some of the things that went on here and the fact that the mules that were powering our boats are going to walk up over top. Matter of fact, if you look at the fence line on the left-hand side here, now it curves up and over to the right of the tunnel. But if on the left you start to see where it goes up, that's the mule path that would lead over to the other side where we just came from. That's where the mules walk. So you have a boat with 25 tons of cargo on it. That's generally what the early boats had. You're being pulled by a mule. You have to disconnect your mule. Your mule's walking up and over top. You literally are going to push your boat through. The tunnel is only wide enough for one boat. There's a curve before you get to the tunnel on this side and a curve on the other side. You need to let boats on the other side know that you're about to start through, because you don't want to have to start through and then have to back up. So this is a time before telephones, telegraphs, radios, none of that stuff exists. How do you let the boats on the other side know that you're about to come through? So whistle's not going to be quite as effective, because the whistle's going to get lost, that sound.
Lantern.
Light, you're not going to be able to see it, because remember, it turns. So if you're back there, you're not going to be able to see through.
Yell.
I heard a yell. You're probably not going to be able to yell loud enough, but I heard somebody say a horn. So the rich captains would have had a brass horn. Most captains couldn't afford a brass horn. So, use something like this. Do we know what this is?
Conch shell.
You might say, Ed, that's a conch shell. I'm going to use Mike's bad joke, and I'm going to say it's a shell phone. Because when you got close to one of the turns on either side, or you got close to one of the locks on the canal, we can talk about locks in a minute, you wanted the lock keeper to come out and help you navigate through, you picked up your cell phone, you opened up the correct app, and then you did something like this. At that point in time, there's no other ambient noise around. That's going to easily carry to the other side of the ridge. Now I know there's a boat about to come through. I'm not going to try to come through there either. All right? Anybody get drift on when you came through the tunnel? Just about everybody got drift on, right? So what if I were to tell you those same rocks that are above us, which are very porous rocks that let water come through, those are the same rocks that are below us. What do you think happened when they first put water in this part of the canal? It drained right out the bottom. So, anybody Lebanon residents here? Anybody from Lebanon here? So, you probably guys well connected to this. But there was a street in Lebanon named after this guy. There was an engineer on the canal. His name was Simeon Guilford. Mr. Guilford said, hey, why don't we line the bottom of the canal with timber? Kind of created a bathtub effect. That works for a little while, but what happens when you put wood in water for a long period of time? Yeah, it rots. Later, Mr. Guilford brought in clay. It's called puddling and comes to canals. The bottom of the canal, even where we are today, is still lined with that same clay that Mr. Guilford brought in the 1820s. That helped keep the water in. Water management, real quick, and then I'll set you guys loose. We're actually, if there's any questions. The other problem with the water here in the summit level, so summit level, if I say you're on the summit of a mountain, what does that mean? The top. I'm going to tell you you're on the summit of the Union Canal. What do you think that means? You're at the top. Top. Everywhere you go from here is down. So if you paddle the way the first group already did and the way the second group went, that's the direction of Reading, Pennsylvania. You're going to the Schuylkill River. You need to drop 300 feet in elevation to get to the Schuylkill River. If you were to go on to the left from when we boarded our kayaks and got in the water, that was going towards Harrisburg. If you're going to go to Harrisburg and the Susquehanna River, you're going to drop 200 feet in elevation. And you do that on the canal through a series of steps called locks. But the problem is, every time those locks get opened, you lose water at the summit level. Well, there's no large natural water sources here at the summit level. That's a problem. So the canal company has to solve that problem. They build a bunch of dams locally, Stavers Dam, Strax Dam, Lions Lake, all those things. Matter of fact, anybody see the little pipe when we first got in the water? Right across from us? That's coming from one of those dams that was built by the canal company. That's called Cattail Run, and it's coming from something called Lions Lake. It's our only source of water right now. The other major source of water for the canal for this part is what I talked earlier about waterworks. The canal company built a huge dam, and the town of Waterworks around it grew up. And at that dam, they actually built a pumping station. They pumped water in 3-foot wide pipes, 4.5 miles from Waterworks all the way back to the summit level here of the canal, so they could try to replenish the water here. Canal's built 4 feet 6 inches deep. Canal boats need 4 feet worth of clearance. They don't have a lot of room for air. So even with all those sources of water, there are hot, dry summer months when this canal could not operate because it was too dry. So they built it as cheaply as they could. That's one of their problems too. They didn't build as big as they should have, or as the locks weren't as big as they could have built them. Some canals that were towpath canals lasted into the 1930s. Matter of fact, the canal up in Easton, Pennsylvania, lasted into the 1930s hauling coal. But this one, 1885, because again, it wasn't built large enough. All right, I rambled all long enough. What do you guys have questions for me?
Does this connect to the canal that runs along the Wildwood Park and
So does this connect along the canal along the Wildwood Park? Yeah, the canals are all in Pennsylvania. They're all going to be connected in some way. So you can literally get on the canal. Let's say the Miller Piano and Organ Company was a company here in Lebanon, Pennsylvania. They built their factory right aside of the Union Canal, so they could take their organs and pianos right off their assembly line, put them on canal boats. This was the easiest way. If you wanted to get a piano to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, you put it on a canal boat in Lebanon. You sailed on the Union Canal to Harrisburg. You went down the Susquehanna Canal, part of the Pennsylvania main line. You got on the Conestoga Canal and you took when you're Safe Harbor, and you took the Conestoga Canal back up to Lancaster. Most of Pennsylvania is going to be connected by canal systems as long as there is a major waterway near it. The difference between the Union Canal and most other canals, most canals are built right alongside of major waterways. The Susquehanna has one, the Delaware has one, the Juniata has one, the Allegheny has one. All of those rivers have one. This is actually built between two rivers. So it was literally called the Golden Link when this was built, because it was pretty revolutionary to have a canal between two rivers, not along the side of a river. Other questions for me?
So it didn't need slack water?
There was actually, the question, if you didn't hear it, was it didn't need slack water. There's actually no slack water navigation on the major part of the Union Canal. The only part that has a little bit of slack water is when they build a dam along a water system, like along a river, and then you could actually navigate on the river because there was a dam. The only part of the Union Canal that had any slack water navigation was the branch canal that they built north of Pine Grove. The big dam up there had actually a section of it. The only place on the Union Canal where there was actually steam power used. There was I'm going to call it a tugboat. It's not really a tugboat, but that actually was up there and actually could pull a couple of canal boats at a time. That was the only slack water navigation on the Union Canal system. All right, anything else for me? I'm going to hang out, so if you guys have questions individually, don't be afraid to wander over. Group 2, keep on keeping on. Enjoy your paddle. Group 1, you can hang out here with me for a while. Or what you're looking at here, again, this was not natural waterway. So when the canal first opened, obviously, when it first operation, most of the water goes out before it started to fill in.
So we are making our way down to the southern end of the park right now. Hope you enjoyed a lot of the history here of the canal as told by the gentleman from the Lebanon Historical Society. I regret not bringing my GoPro right now. Forgetting it at the house. Thought I had grabbed it. Could have gave you better footage. And it's a leisurely. Well, this began at 5:30, and it goes till 7:30. We got to be off the water, I guess, a little bit before then. How you doing? Got some kids fishing up ahead with their parents. Well, at least I would have brought my necklace, as they call it. Could have put it around my neck and had it recording that way. But that's okay. We're almost coming to the end of the canal now. Almost. I gotta watch it because these kids are fishing on my side. Actually, they're casting as far as the other side too, as well. But I'm gonna put this down temporarily. So this is the Lois Miley. This is the canal boat they do give tours on. The Historic Preservation Trust also runs that as well. I did a video here years ago for Canal Day and I rode aboard this thing. So if you want to check out that video, I'll put a link in the description. And now we're coming to the end of the canal on this end. Now we're kayaking back toward the tunnel again. As you can see, excuse me, the sun is still out. Earlier we had overcast skies right as we exited the tunnel coming southbound. But I truly regret not bringing my my GoPro today. I truly regret it because it would have been a much nicer video. Sorry for the shakiness. Probably gonna have to do a lot of stabilizing in post. But I'm still enjoying my one-handed paddle. As you can see here, one of the tour guide we were listening to earlier, he's giving the history to the other group that was group 1 that went out and came out this way first. We went over toward the dam area. Sorry for again because I'm holding it by hand, so. I thought I packed my necklace mount. And what killed the canal is over there. Okay. So we have one of the group guides staying not too far behind me here. Just want to show you the paddle over here. We make our way back up to the tunnel entrance. Yeah, they're talking about Adam Zern of Uncharted Lancaster. Talking with the young man behind me. But that's how I learned about this, through Uncharted Lancaster. Adam Zern, he's a awesome local historian, Lancaster County. But he's slowly but surely expanding also to other areas too. So now I'm going to do a one-handed again, since I didn't give you a good, I forgot to press the
Sometimes it's hard to get all the information.
there we go.
What you read is different, because when this was in operation, there was the only way they recorded anything was handwritten. And it's in cursive. And it's not in cursive like today's cursive, it's in cursive like Declaration of Independence cursive. So
Wow.
it's hard to read. Wow, it's even harder when you're trying to read that stuff.
Hopefully I'll give you the full. You can look up there. There's a concrete patch up there. To see
Weird though. Closer to Hershey, CD and Paul Meyer than me. Load off.
Okay, that's still where we are.
And I got Meyer.
Oh, okay.
So that's my headlamp you see up there. I'm trying to stay in the middle here. So I'll give you a view. But not too many folks. Not too many folks are using their headlamps. That's our tour guide behind me talking. So if you get little bits of information, that's why. That's neat. There's a person right in front of me right there. You can see him to the left. I'm shining my light on him a little bit. You got water dripping. Sorry for the shakiness again. Dripping water up ahead. I'm not going to point my phone to up there because I don't want it to get wet. You can see the drops. It really looks like it's raining inside the tunnel here. And who doesn't know the Sugar Bowl? So we're finally starting to exit. So cool. Said I've already done this tour by with the canal boat before, about 3 years ago. But to do it by kayak is cool. Even better. But again, I apologize for the shakiness of the video because of me one-handing it. I'm gonna show you back. Back that way a little bit. So I want to give a shout out to all these gentlemen here that provided the service here, and the gentleman here that did the kayak tour as well. As you can see, they have it clearly posted here that there is no kayaking normally. These tours are arranged by the Lebanon Valley Historical Society in cooperation with Coco Kayaks, who provides the kayaks and equipment, the paddles, the vest, the whistle on the vest, and of course the kayaks. Service was really great. They made sure we were not getting too far behind at all, especially when I was trying to film here. Sorry for my voice, because I don't know why. My throat has been feeling like that for a good while now. But as you can see, they're loading up their stuff